Welcome to Easy Limu Learning Simplified. My name is Eric. I'll be taking you through this topic, coordinates and graphs. And for this particular lesson, we're going to cover something on coordinates of points on a Cartesian plane. Already, we've looked at the terms used when it comes to this topic, coordinates and graphs. And one of the terms that we discussed was about coordinates. And we said coordinates simply represent, simply mean numbers which are used to represent the positions of points. So we have a few questions on coordinates of points on a Cartesian plane to help us with the illustration on how we can extract coordinates, from a Cartesian plane. And of course, at the end of the lesson, we'll be giving you some assignment just to help you practice and to help you gauge on your understanding of the concept as we're going to discuss during this lesson. So we start by appreciating that this is something that we've also discussed before, that when it comes to the positions of points on a plane, remember previously we talked about positions of points in a straight line. We used a number line and we were able to illustrate. Possibly if you missed out on that, you can look out on our videos on that. You'll be able to see what is done when it comes to positions of points in a straight line. Now we want to see points that are scattered. How do you get the position? Using the coordinate system. So we say the position of points on a plane can be located using ordered pair numbers called coordinates. So you can call them ordered pair coordinates. Written in the form, there is a bracket, x, and then y. So the first one, we call it x coordinate, and the second one, we call it y coordinate. So the first number represents the distance along the x-axis. That's what we call the x coordinate. So it could be to the positive side of the x-axis or to the negative side of the x-axis, depending on whether that number is positive or negative, as we're going to see. And the second number represents the distance along the y-axis, either to the positive side or to the negative side from the origin. We talked about that in the previous slide. You can possibly check on that. And it is called the y-coordinate. Y-coordinate. So y-coordinate simply represents the number of steps along the y-axis. So it could be to the positive side or to the negative side. And of course, where the two axes intersect, that is the origin. So the x value at the origin is 0, and the y value or the y coordinate at the origin is also 0. So we call it 0, 0. So these are the coordinates of the origin, meaning from the origin, you don't make any step. Don't make any step. 0, 0. So every time you come across a Cartesian plane like the one I have right now with x-axis horizontal and y-axis the vertical axis, the first thing that you need to identify is where the origin is. For example, where is the origin? You can see the origin is that. So once you identify the origin, then you'll be able to get the coordinates. Because coordinates in this case could be, given in terms of x and y, meaning number of x along the x-axis, number of steps along the x-axis, and number of steps along the y-axis. So let's see how that is done. So let's start with the first point, Q. You use a bracket. You could see in the previous example where we're using the bracket to state the coordinates. And of course, starting with the x coordinate being the first one, and the y coordinate being the second one. So point Q, this is where it is. So you start from the origin. You begin by this where the two axes intersect. You begin by movement along the x-axis. Remember, it's supposed to be given in terms of x, y, x coordinate and y coordinate. So this is Q coordinates. Q coordinates are going to be. So let's start with x from the origin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the number of steps along the y-axis, along the x-axis, 6. So the x coordinate is 6. Positive, you could see we're moving to the positive side. Then you move vertically upwards to reach point Q. So 1, 2, 3, again to the positive side. So you write as positive. 3. So x, the coordinates of point Q are given as 6, comma 3. So 6 x coordinate, number of steps along the x-axis from the origin, comma 3. 3 is the y coordinate, which means the number of steps along the y-axis and to the positive side. So what you do is that you must always begin by moving number of steps along the x-axis, so horizontally, then vertically, without stopping, without going back to the origin. So I will move this way, then this way to reach point Q. So the movement must start with horizontal movement. That's why we call them ordered pair coordinates. So the x coordinate first, number of steps along the x-axis first. So you move horizontally, then vertically. See, we reach point Q. So that's how we get the coordinates. Coordinates. Coordinates simply put as numbers representing the position. So if I want to get to point Q, I know I will have to start from the origin. Of course, every time you're given direction, there must be a landmark. So this is just a representation of what happens when you want to give somebody direction moving from point A to point B, maybe from one town to another. You must tell them move to this point, then turn left, move this number of kilometers, then turn right, move this number of kilometers or number of whatever if you are driving. You know. So let's see Q then R. So you see where R is. So we have to start one. We have to start from the origin. So how many steps along the x-axis? So you move this way. How many steps are those? 4. Then you move that way. How many steps are those? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 4, 5. 4, 5. See. So the rule is you must start by moving along the the the, the x-axis, then y-axis. Then we have S, Q, R, S. So S again, you just identify where is S. So you see S. So I have P, Q, R, T is there. So maybe assume S is here. Just let's assume S is there. So I will have to move horizontally. How many steps are all these? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Then you move vertically. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So 9, comma 4. Of course, when you talk about 9, we mean 9 steps from the origin. QRS, then T. So T is there. So for T, do you really need to move along the, if you start from the origin, so that is S. So where T is, I don't need to move horizontally. Because right above, so you just need to move vertically. So we assume there is no horizontal movement. So we'll write 0 because there is no horizontal movement. But then you only need to move upwards. So how many steps? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 0, 8. You see? Meaning there is no movement along the horizontal axis. You just move up direct. Then U. Where is U? U is here. So U, you have to move because there are only two types of movements in this case. Either you move horizontally or you move vertically, but it's supposed to be continuous. You don't stop anywhere. So you move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If you pass, you'll not be able to reach U. Then you move vertically upwards. 1, 2. So 1, 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then you're at U. So we have how many? 7, 7. So 7, 7. Then we now have V finally. You see? So look at V. Look at where V is. So you do the same thing. You move horizontally first. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Then 1. So 9, comma 1. So that is how you go about it. We have the coordinates of points A, B, and C. Find the coordinates. Basically, it's the position. So we have point A. Where is A? See, now you have to move. From the origin, you have to move to the negative side. So you move how many steps to the negative side? Negative 2. 2 steps, but to the negative side. So you write negative. But then from there, you move vertically upward to the positive side. So how many steps here? 3. So just see the number of squares, number of boxes. Then the same applies to B. So you move 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. So negative 3. So you see 1, 2, 3, the negative side. So you write negative 3, comma, and then 4 downwards to the negative side. So negative 4 again. And then finally C. So C again. Now you'll have move in the horizontal, the x-axis. So 1, 2, 3, then negative 1. So 3 and then negative, comma, negative 1. So that is how you go about it. Please take note of the order. Start with x-axis first, then y-axis, and then take note of the direction, whether it's to the positive side or to the negative side. So that marks the end. A few questions just to help you practice. You're supposed to find the coordinates of these points A, B, C, D, and E. Otherwise, that is all for now. Till next time, goodbye.